Hi, everyone. Welcome to the next edition of PACE Presents. Many of you joined us a couple of weeks ago. We talked about the path to homeownership and how with rising rents, it's becoming a lot simpler, a lot better for most people to look into becoming homeowners. And while some people are able to take advantage of the great down payment assistance programs that we talked about on the 13th, some people aren't quite at that step yet. We got a lot of commentary back after the event that people could benefit from brushing up on a few different things, whether that's repairing their credit, building a little bit more financial discipline and learning how to manage their own budgets and things of that nature. Or in some cases, it's people saying, I need to find a better job. I need to get better work. I need to go back to school. I need to figure out a path for me because this minimum wage job, I'm never going to get to my home ownership dream. I need to be making 18, 19, 20, 30 bucks an hour. So what's the pathway for me to get there? So in that spirit, we have some guests with us today. They're going to speak to how you can take some steps to get on that path and how we can support you in getting there. So my name is Josh Amaral. I'm the Assistant Executive Director here at PACE. We're joined by Pam Kuechler, our Executive Director here at PACE. Hi, Pam.
Hi, Josh. Thanks.
We're also joined by Brandan Burke, who is of New Bedford Financial Consulting. Happy to have Brandan with us today.
Thank you, Josh.
And lastly, Taylor Nichols-Xavier is a program monitor from the MassHire Greater New Bedford Career Center Workforce Board, which is associated with the Career Center. Hi, Taylor.
Hi, Josh. Thanks for having me.
So let's get things rolling. Go to Brandan first. Brandan, you're a man of many talents. You not only do the financial consulting and help people with some personal finance, but you also are a real estate agent. I know you attended our event a couple weeks ago and you kind of saw what the conversation was all about and how that took shape. So we're really delighted that you could participate with us today to give us some of your feedback on how people can achieve their dreams, both in terms of home ownership and also financial consulting. And we talked offline before, and I thought that it's really cool that you seem to have sort of a passion for working with people to get them on the road to success. Whereas a lot of people that are sort of finance oriented are naturally gravitating toward the people with the most money to manage and things like that. But you seem sort of mission driven. So I think you're a great addition to this conversation. But I was thinking maybe you could tell us about your work and kind of how you ended up doing the stuff that you do.
Awesome. First off, I want to say thank you to you, Josh, and thank you to PACE for having me on your platform. I'm truly honored to be here. So why I got into real estate was I wanted to be able to help my community, New Bedford, where I came from, obtain the goals of home ownership and build generational wealth for their families, right? So I became a real estate agent. But while working with certain individuals, I realized that they need to be met on a more ground level when it came to accomplishing that goal, because a lot of them weren't taught those things. So I decided that I wanted to start doing credit repair. And I started helping people with that, boosting their credit. But then I realized that there was an even deeper issue with their spending habits and things of that nature. So I started doing financial consulting, and I feel like it's truly rewarding work because you're not only changing their financial status, but you're also changing their lives and their families' lives. And now they're able to take what I taught them and go pass it on to the next person, to their neighbor, to their cousin, to their family member, what have you. So that's why I decided to get into this work. And again, I'm very happy to be here.
Awesome, Brandon. That's really cool. Taylor, kind of the same question to you. So obviously a lot going on with the Workforce Board and the Career Center. And I think these are topics that are really of interest. What brings you to your work? Tell us about yourself.
So thanks again. I want to mimic what Brandon said. Thanks again for having me. I am delighted to talk about the value MassHire services can bring to our community members. So I actually am the program monitor at the Workforce Board level. So we are affiliated with the Career Center. So I do policies, and I love policies. I love yes, no, black, white, yes, no. Like I absolutely love that. Don't give me grace. So I absolutely love monitoring. I read the bills all day, and I just make sure that the Career Centers, check off the right. So, but they are the ones who really are the hub of this community. They are the ones face front of the line for people to find jobs. So I got into this. Oh my gosh, my first job ever for a number of years, babysat for years, absolutely loved it. So a lot of my mom's friends, my mom had me very young, so she had a lot of friends who had kids when I was like 13. So I babysat them. Lo and behold, an opportunity came up prior to our rebranding to MassHire about 10 years ago The former directors actually thought of me to bring me on as a summer. The biggest thing we do all year is our summer jobs program for youth ages 14 to 24. So they brought me on as support staff for 1 year. I did filing and, copies and, very entry level, office skills. And they invited me back for the next year, and I got to kind of be a little bit more challenged. I actually got to deliver a career readiness curriculum. Just I was 19. I didn't think I was, qualified to do anything like that. Came back another summer, and actually I had just about graduated college by then. So I was around to stay. So I was hoping an opportunity would open up full time, and lo and behold, it did, and I never left.
That's awesome. So you sort of show the career path yourself, right?
Exactly.
Like starting off and then kind of growing through the ranks.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about that here at PACE. I think, Pam probably has a lot to add on how that career path works for people. Also, our interactions with the Workforce Board. Pam's on the board of directors of the Workforce Board.
Happy to have her.
So how do you see all that intersecting, Pam?
Well, so I mean, it's fascinating. I actually didn't know Taylor's full progression here, so it's awesome to hear that. And Brandon, your sort of motivation and sort of what's driven you to do this. I think it's really exciting to hear that there are folks really interested in innovating and trying to really reach folks where they're at. You made a good point. I don't know whether it was you or Josh that made the point about how people sort of focus the financial planning on people that you perceive to have a lot of money, but it really is critically important at this level. And for us, working with populations that are really trying to figure out their path, it's one of the things that we haven't had a lot of experience providing, but it's one of the things we always identify as an area that would be really, really, really helpful for us to be able to provide people with an option of, being able to talk to somebody about how do you make it with the amount of funds that you make every week, and how do you progress so that you start to build something. So I'm really excited too, kind of to hear about a little bit more about how we kind of get there today, and it really gives me some ideas about how we could potentially help the people that come through our doors throughout all of our programming, and tie it all together so that we can give people another tool in the toolbox to be able to move in the direction that we're talking about today. So it's great.
Awesome. So the event, we sort of branded it, right, talking about managing your finances and increasing your income. I think the two kind of go hand in hand, right? A lot of our attendees of the last event have a focus on one rather than the other, but I think they go together. Taylor, I think, increasing income is often the first step for some people. It's going from that, $14.50 an hour to the $20 an hour job. What do you think the obstacles are that people face in making that jump, and what are some of the things that they could be thinking about doing?
That's a great question. So often I find, everybody who we tend to meet is we see all walks of life in the career center. Some people are unemployed. Maybe they just are short-term job unemployed. Maybe they've been somewhere 30, 40 years and now they're unemployed, and they don't even know. I mean, that's a whole kind of another generation now. You're job searching. We don't have paper applications really anymore. Maybe you had a job and you've had the same job for 30 years and you don't really have technology skills. It's really just breaking down and almost taking out of the fear. Let's work with somebody at the career center to basically guide you, use you as, I used to say, I used to be a career counselor, and I'd say, consider me your fairy godmother for getting a job. And I don't know if they really considered me one, but I just wanted them to know I'm here for you to use me as a tool so I can just help you take that fear, that overwhelm, that stress of looking for a job and job searching, and let's break it down to a next tangible step. Sometimes you're so eager, you want to buy a house, you want to own your own business, right? I've had somebody, come and say, okay, I'm gonna own my own business. And I go, wonderful, what's your business? Well, this. And I go, well, you have a business plan? No. Okay, do you have money to start a business? No. All right, let's take it back a couple steps. That's a great long-term goal. Let's go, how can we get from here to there so that one day you can reach that goal, maximize your earning potential, make the money you need to start that business or get into this field or buy that house or whatever it may be. So it's just really a way to just take that next tangible step, break it down. I know everybody can be eager sometimes because you don't want to wait. You just want the success, the house, the money, but it's a little bit of a stepping stone. So we just help you identify your goals, those skills that you currently have, your transferable skills. What skills do we need to get you? What industry recognized credentials that might be available to you through MassHire or locally to get you to that next job, so we can continue hitting that next level, so that when the person above you is promoted, you're next in line for that next position.
So I think, Brandon, this is probably some similarities to that, right? Some of the people you talk to are probably very enthusiastic one day about starting something, and it becomes a consistency thing, right? So you got to stick with it. You got to have the discipline to do it. But it's almost the same process for you, probably, to identify where people are at and then figure out what you need to do.
Yes, that's actually step 3 in my 5-step process to gain financial freedom, is identifying the issue. I want to touch on what Taylor said about people might them not having the confidence or believing that they can do something because they don't have the technical skills or whatever. So changing your life starts with your mindset, right? It starts with believing that you can do it. So something that I do personally is, if it's something that I don't have much experience in, like speaking in front of people right now,
You're doing great.
I'll literally talk to myself, like, people call me crazy, whatever, but I'll talk to myself in the mirror, like, you can do it. You can do it. You believe in yourself. You got this. If another person did it, you can do it. So that's literally what I tell my clients, is just to talk life into yourself, believe that you can do it. You know, it's gonna, like you said, like, people want instant gratification.
Yeah.
As long as it took for you to mess your credit up and stuff like that, is as long as it's going to take for you to rebuild it. But you will get there, and you just have to talk about it to yourself, believe in yourself, you can do it.
So you mentioned 5 steps.
Yeah.
What are the 5 steps?
So the first step, so the first step is determine your goal, right? Why do you want to fix your finances? Like, you don't want to just have money to have money. Like, money is used as a tool. It's not something that's meant to be hoarded, right? That's another misconception, is everybody wants to hold all this money, but it's actually here for us to use as a tool to build wealth for our families. That's the overall goal, right? So what is your goal? Do you want to buy a house? I can help you with that. Do you want to buy a car? Do you want to save for your children's schooling? What do you want to do with it, right? So once you realize the goal, that will be your motivation to basically change your life and your financial profile. So next step is, you want to identify the issue. What is the issue? Do you have a spending problem? Are you living paycheck to paycheck? Are you not able to, are you not able to keep up with your bills and stuff like that? So once you identify the issue, then we come up with a budgeting plan, right? So you develop a spending plan. You use tools such as Mint, Truebill, and I think you said that you have another.
Yeah, I use one. You need a budget, but I think the ones you have too are great. Mint, it's free, is it?
Yeah,
Oh,
Mint,
I just downloaded that.
Yeah, you downloaded that also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saw it on TikTok.
You saw it on TikTok? Hopefully it was my video, because I do have it on TikTok.
Oh, okay, I'll start following
You can see this on TikTok.
Yeah. We know to follow.
Yeah. So that's that you want to use those types of tools to basically connect all your bank accounts to it, so that it can see what transactions you have and what categories you've been spending on. Have you been going out to eat too much? Have you been partying too much? Have you been, buying unnecessary things? It'll give you a pie chart basically on what you've been spending on and how much each month, and allow you to set budgets for that. So what I usually tell people is, you should go by the 50-30-20 rule. So 50% goes to your needs, your rent, your car payment, your auto insurance, things that you need to survive, right? Then 30% goes towards your wants. So if you want to go to the movie theater, you want to go, to the feast this weekend, how much can I spend on that, right? Those type of things, right? So because we can't just focus on the needs, right? We have to enjoy life. You got to enjoy life, but within reason. So 30% goes to that, and then 20% goes to your savings. So, right. So what I tell people is, if you want to save for a house, right, then 20% of your monthly take-home income should go towards that. You should put it in a separate account and don't even look at it, right, until you're ready to make that move, right? So after that, and if you don't have those specific goals, then 10% of that will go to your regular savings, and then other 10% should go towards your investment accounts, which I have an investment account guide that I'll send out to anybody that emails New Bedford Financial Consulting for free, and I won't charge for that. So on the investment accounts, right, you need to be able to save for the future, right? Because one day you're going to be too old to work and you're not going to want to work anymore, right? So you have to have income to sustain your lifestyle. A lot of people don't save for the future because they think they're going to work forever, but that's not realistic. So you should have something like an IRA account, or if you have a job, you should be contributing the max to your 401k. A lot of employees match with that. And then they also have things like 529 plans where you can support, it's either 529 or 429, don't quote me on that, but you can put money towards your college, your children's college. I know a lot of people have done that. And then they also have things like UGMA and UPMA accounts where you can trade stocks on behalf of your child. So you should look into that as well. So after you've been able to budget and you've been able to come up with like a solid plan, what you want to do next is you want to start building assets, right? Once you've been able to acquire that money, remember what I said about you want to be able to use money as a tool. So once you've been able to acquire a good amount of funds, then you want to put it into investments, assets, things that will bring you money back and things that you can hand down to the future generation. So that's the 5-step plan, and hopefully that's something that
That's great. No, that's awesome.
That was awesome.
So, I think the 50-30-20 rule, we've talked a lot about that in some of the work we do with housing and rent and things like that, right? The rule of thumb when you go to get a mortgage or you're even renting, a lot of people watching will say, I recently tried to get an apartment and the landlord said I needed 3 times the rent and income, right? Which is kind of the same as saying you need to spend 30% of your income on rent, right? It's flipped. I think where a lot of people are at, whether it's a mortgage or whether it's rent, is they're saying $1,500 a month in rent means I need to make $4,500 a month from my job, and I don't make that yet. So I think we go back to Taylor and the work of the Career Center. So what is it? What are some of the ways that people could access services to increase their income? Say they just want to go and find a job. What's the process look like for that?
That's a great question. So we do have multiple entry points. Primarily, it's a virtual world. We can do registration online. We do utilize our JobQuest site. It's kind of connected to our database. So anything that the first step, regardless, you want to go visit our job search site. So you could use it as a job search engine. There's local jobs on there that you might be interested in. You might be able to apply. You can register for any of our workshops right from there. Maybe you have an interview coming up and you're kind of nervous. There's an interview workshop. Maybe you need to brush up your resume because you've been doing the same thing for years, and resumes are different now. The professional summary is different. Nowadays they're looking at a whole nother kind of format. Don't put your address on it. Things are new the way employers look at resumes and things like that. So maybe it's a computer class. Maybe you don't even know how to navigate a computer because you remember paper applications. So that's more of the kind of step-by-step guide, but you can access all of that by calling the front desk phone number, 508-990-4000. You can do it there if you're not tech savvy. You can also go on the JobQuest site, and what you want to do is primarily register for the Career Center Seminar. A couple things with the Career Center Seminar. For people who are recently unemployed, they are required to attend the seminar. So there are some state mandated slides on there that could be a little bit dry. So I hate to say that I never want that to turn people who might not be on unemployment, that might be there just wanting to find out the scope of services MassHire does. That's on there too. So basically, that's the starting point. It's a presentation. It goes over every single thing possible regarding what's available through the Career Center, our partners, and then as well as at the end, we have all of our training programs. Anything we're recruiting for is in there. And then every single person who attends a Career Center seminar meets with a career counselor. They do an initial assessment. What do you want to do? What do you do now? What's your work history? Do you have a car? Do you have kids, small kids? Do you have childcare? If you want a job in Providence, do you have a car? Just kind of really figuring out what it is you want to do. What brought you here to the Career Center? Is it a training opportunity? Do you just need a referral to DTA? What is it that you need? So that career counselor, you register for the CCS, whether through JobQuest or call the front desk. You attend the CCS, watch that exciting presentation of all the services, meet with that advisor who's really going to take you through what are you looking for? This is the next step. This is the next department you need to go to. This is the business card that you need to call and ask this question. These are the documents you need. So really the entry point to everything is attending that Career Center seminar. Or we have a number of partners in the community. We are connected to a number of them. So if you are, visiting the DTA office or the Housing Authority, or PACE, generally can refer you to MassHire as well for those services that you might need. A lot of them are co-located at the Career Center. So if transportation's an issue, that's the benefit of having, we have Mass Rehab there, we have Job Corps, Adult Basic Education, UMass, Dartmouth, BCC. So as many partners, and actually now that the Career Center is open for services again full-time after COVID, the director is currently really reaching out to see, hey, who wants to come to the Career Center, so that it's a one-stop shop. A lot of people who do receive, DTA or on public assistance also have to go to the Career Center to fulfill requirements, and you have to show that you're looking for work and that. And then we make sure you're doing that. We communicate with the DTA office. So we are, it's a huge integrated system, we call it. It's a system, and we try to make it as easy as possible. There are some things, because we're state and federally funded, we can't get around sometimes, but it really isn't anything that, we want to turn people off from coming. We want it to be a place that helps you resolve barriers to employment so you can be successful in obtaining employment and continuing to move forward in your life.
I think, the navigating the obstacles is the key. We talked about consistency and how people can kind of start and then get a little discouraged because it seems overwhelming. But I think our advice to people would be get into that process, start with the seminar, get paired up with someone, and then, there are a million agencies, there are a million services. There's a response for every need, but sometimes it seems overwhelming and daunting at the beginning, but work with a trained person to help you access all those services. So like PACE has a million different things that can help someone that's on their job seeking journey, whether that's building skills at Youth Build, or going to get some college credits at Clemente, or you need some childcare, you need help with those sorts of things. So Pam has a lot of experience working in that world, and can talk a little bit about some of the services that we offer here at PACE to alleviate those concerns, and more broadly what you see in the community.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. So, I think one of the things that we will often see from folks is they sort of feel like, how do I get started? They come through our doors for a variety of reasons. And one of the things that I think we try really hard to do as an agency is to really get people connected in the right direction so they are able to sort of get towards their goals, right? So, and one of the big barriers that does come up is childcare. We run the Child Care Resource and Referral Agency that serves all of southeastern Massachusetts, and what we call them the CCR&R, just so I can use the letters instead of saying it every time. But we provide support for childcare subsidies, so people can get assistance paying for childcare. Childcare is expensive, but it's necessary.
Absolutely.
And early education is critical for children to get themselves ready, but also to give parents an opportunity to go to work. So while it may seem difficult to find childcare, we actually have resources at PACE Childcare Works that not only gives you assistance with subsidies and helping to pay for childcare, but also can give you listings. So if you're looking for childcare, you're not even sure where to start. Like, how do I even walk through the door? You talk to somebody in our office. They can help determine, okay, do we need to get you on the child care wait list, which isn't really all that long. You just have to get your information in so that then we can help you move through the process. But at the same time, here's a list of providers, child care providers, and think about where you want them to, where you want your child to go. What community? Do you want to be near where you potentially going to be working, or do you want to be near your home? What kind of support do you need to make sure that you're able to do pickups and drop-offs and all that stuff? So our staff are able to help people navigate through that with the listings, and then giving people suggestions about how you can go and interview, because that's a critical piece. So that's kind of a first hurdle sometimes that people feel like, well, I can't get care for my kids. I think, we try really hard to help people get through that part of the system. I think the other thing is too, oftentimes people will just sort of feel like they kind of hit a barrier and they can't get further. So I think one of the things that we try to do as our series of programs is really try to encourage people to take a look at what is that barrier, and then how can we then help you get connected to something that will help you overcome that barrier. Josh mentioned, we have some services that actually kind of get you on the road. Our youth build program are for our youth, basically providing youth with a pathway to get them to employability and credential. We work really closely with MassHire to help them get there. And we can really set, they can really set along the path. We see it happen. We've watched it happen internally. We've had our youth build students as our interns here. We've been able to hire them as summer employees. Some of them have stayed on as employees because we needed them because of capacity. We needed more folks. And then some branched off and are working in other programs. They have an interest in working with people, or they have an interest in doing office work or whatever, and they've successfully moved on. And that's sort of the ideal scenario, with us saying to them, and you can keep going. You might start off as a file clerk in our fuel assistance program, but you potentially have, there's a limitless potential for you to then move beyond that as you learn. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for training through you guys, and I think there's a lot of opportunity in this community as we move forward for people to try new things and to get connected to new things. And so I think that's really, a key piece is internally working with our staff to sort of help people get past barriers that they feel sort of stop them along the path, and being able to connect to people like you guys to really, once we've identified what some of those barriers are, and help them to sort of take the next steps by providing the supportive services to get there, such as the child care, or like our Clemente class, or youth build, or any of the other services that we have that can provide some of that foundational support, so that they can talk about how do I set a budget.
Right.
You might be able to utilize the food pantry. They may be able to help you sort of offset your food budget, so that way you're saving money, or you're able to put a little bit aside over here.
Yes.
You may be able to access our fuel assistance program, which can really be a big help during the cold winters. And that money that you would be concerned about using towards heating your home, you get a benefit. So you don't have to worry about that, so you can help program that somewhere else in your 50, your 50, 30, format. So the similar to your tools that you're talking about, a lot of the services that we offer are tools, and tying them together that way, instead of looking at them as individual things, they all can be part of sort of a bigger system to really help a family move from point A to point B. So.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that's just showing the full continuum. Like, you access the Career Center services, you get referred to agencies like PACE and all the other great agencies in the community that do this stuff. That can help chip away at the 50% of your main necessity type costs with heating, or energy, or food, or housing, or whatever it is that we could help with. Health insurance is another one. Tax time is another one. Come make an appointment, get your taxes done for free. So all those things are, I think, great resources for people. Ultimately, I'm thinking, Brendan, how often does someone come to you and you're talking about increasing, you're talking about budgeting, and they go, I would do that, but I just can't find the work. There's not a lot of jobs available. Because I think that's been the case in New Bedford for a long time. There really haven't been a lot of jobs. But now I think we're looking at it, and there are a good number of opportunities. Do you see that?
Yeah, I'm seeing that. A lot of companies are basically begging employees to come and work for them, giving them all kinds of different packages, just sign-on bonuses, stipends to help them move and stuff like that. So I'm seeing more and more jobs come available. But I always encourage people to really take a step back and think about what it is that you actually want to do with your life. What are you passionate about? What can you do that you would do for free because you enjoy it? And that's what you should actually make a living doing, because then it will be more fulfilling. So.
Is that your?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to jump in right now. I wait for your next question, but I really wanted to comment, because that is exactly what we say. And what I always say is, especially it's a long working life until you can retire to do something you hate, you know? It's gonna make it hard to get to work every day. So another thing that we do generally when anybody coming through the center, we ask them that exact question. Not only do we ask them that question, especially if they're like, all right, what do you like to do? What do you do right now? How can we turn it into a job? You know, like let's look at, we've got a million tools and we, you know, at our fingertips, we do a lot of labor market research at the Career Center. We have a lot of tools to look at labor market data. So we say, okay, you like to, I can't think of a job. You like to be a bee, you like beekeeping, right? That's your hobby, is beekeeping, right? You want to do that for work? Let's look at it. Let's look at the demand for beekeeping, right? You live here. How far are you willing to travel? Maybe beekeeping's better in Virginia. You willing to go to Virginia? You know, just things like that. How do we take what you do know about yourself, your current skills, interests, hobbies, and we do have a this questionnaire assessment through MassCIS we use. I don't know if you use that. It's just a free website. Anybody can use it. You click Massachusetts resident. You can put where you live, and you can click. There's a number of assessments, kind of like a Myers-Briggs, like personality tests, things like that. Things that say, I like to build cabinets, right? And you click, yes, you like to do that. No, you don't, or you don't know because you never built a cabinet before, right? You go through that, and at the end, it gives you a list of careers that you might be interested in. From there, you can start looking into those careers, plug them into labor market. What's the future? What's the industry recognized credentials? What's the first step? And just that's something else that we do. And that's the exact, my favorite thing to do when I was a career counselor is someone come and say, I need a job. Doing what? I don't know. What do you like to do? Okay, let's explore it together. Let's, you know, because, you know, we have that at MassHire, but, you know, if I never been to MassHire, I don't know that those things exist out there, so.
We have a bunch of job opportunities here at PACE,
Yeah,
right?
we do, yeah.
Pam could probably list them off, but talking about, you know, really trying to get people to come to work, we have some critical shortage positions, right?
We do. I mean, you know, the early childhood sector, we have a Head Start program. We are struggling to fill those positions. Part of it is that folks haven't started, you know, are not gravitating to that sector. And so we're trying to figure out ways too to try to encourage people to even consider going into early childhood so that that's going to be an area that there's a huge need going forward. It is an area that currently has a huge need. So I think that's one piece, you know, one piece of the puzzle for us too. We're, you know, being an employer and struggling to find, you know, folks that can come in and that are qualified for the jobs is really a quandary that we've been really taking a lot of time to try to figure out and try to create an environment here that is a place where people want to come and provide benefits that are advantageous to folks. And I think that, you know, you see that across the site. You made the comment that, you know, if people are really looking for employees, and there's a lot of competition for some of the same folks, which is why right now in this greater New Bedford community, there's a lot of opportunity for somebody who might be thinking that they're a job seeker. I think, you know, part of the job of us as agencies and as, you know, folks who do this work is to try to provide an environment for the people who are trying to figure it out, that realization, you know, sort of giving them that hope that there is opportunity, there are things that you can try. And I would say, it's fair to say, because we work closely with our partners across the greater New Bedford community, a lot of the same people that you're referencing, you know, we're all really trying to help people see that there are things that we can connect you to, that you can do, that may get you into the workforce in a way that you never even thought in a million years might be a good fit for you. But, you know, I think we're all motivated to try to really give people that hope, you know, to take those next steps and to kind of get past the fear of maybe doing that. So, but yes, you know, it is, as an employer, it's a challenge. And, you know, we're always looking for suggestions and ideas about how to attract additional high quality staff, because without them, you know, we can't do the work. So.
I mean, in addition to what we have available here and all the other, you know, the hot jobs that the Career Center puts out, which is always loaded up these days, and people are doing sign-on bonuses, doing all this other stuff. We've got this whole other industry coming into New Bedford, like now. I don't think people quite realize it. So, I mean, we've worked closely with Third Eye, and they're a key partner in the WinWorks initiative. And so, New Bedford being selected as really the hub for offshore wind in America, the huge industry that's bigger in Europe and it's making its way here, and we're in this position, in this driver's seat. I feel like people have been talking about it for 6 or 7 years and haven't realized that like it's here. Starting like now, there are like 500 jobs that are coming available in the next couple of months, and we've, as a community, I think done a good job in advocating and calling for local people to be hired, people of color to be hired, women to be hired into these jobs, and we've got the developers in a position to give us what we want in those areas, but now they're saying, where are the people, right? So getting them trained up, I had some statistics I wanted to say that the pile drivers union, for example, is paying $22 an hour for entry-level jobs. And then those jobs climb over time to more than $50 an hour. And it would probably grow even more than that because by the time you get there, it'll be more, right? So there are a lot of people that are going to be watching this that are going to go $22 an hour, like January, where do I sign up, Well, talk to the Career Center. Let's get you signed up. And it's not just going to fade. So they're not going to come and build these in January for 6 months. There's going to be 10 years of projects to construct them. And then it shifts into this like 30-year period where it's going to be people going out to maintain them and keep operating them. A lot of them happens like remotely. So
long-term careers.
You're picturing being on a ladder, but it's really like in a control room or on a boat. And that's also going to spur all these other jobs, which are going to be people that are working on the shore side of things just because the hotel's going to be full and they're going to need to hire more people, or the restaurants are going to be busier because we've got more people coming in. Is that the Career Center's kind of geared up for that? MassHire's talked a lot about?
You took my spiel. I have nothing extra to add about offshore wind because that is literally, it is such an emerging industry. Like it really is, and you couldn't have said it any better because, people sometimes hear, 300,000 jobs are coming for offshore wind, and maybe they're not all simultaneously at the same time, but exactly as you're saying, right now it's, marinas are being built to house boats that are going to take the supplies over to the offshore wind. Boat goes down, you need maintenance workers, right? You need electricians to make sure turbines are running okay. That's basically, it's so emerging that we're, our big push right now, and we're really kind of utilizing this with our youth team at the board. They're really into the high schools right now. We're really focusing on awareness to get the word out that this job is so lucrative and that there are so many opportunities that people don't know offshore wind. There are courses BCC is having right now, a training course, a professional certificate for offshore wind in those emerging industries. Even, if you're in construction now, keep your eye out on the offshore wind side because, you have skills now, you're working in these fields now that can translate into the offshore wind company, industry as well too. So it's really the awareness and letting people know, don't sleep on it. It's here for the next couple of years, but, you're hearing it here first in this area. It's happening. There was just that big Dutch conference that came down at the Whaling Museum that talked about the future of offshore wind in the industry. There's so much you can follow in our area, Mayflower Wind, Vineyard Wind, Windworks, about, the progress on that. Follow those stories, see what, kind of track what's going on there because more and more opportunities are going to be opening up. But that's exactly what we're trying to, our executive directors are, at the table trying to just learn more and take advantage of, what can, and we're a little eager, there's not like a training program tomorrow that you get in. I mean, there is one at BCC, but on our level, there's not quite a offshore wind training, starting July 2nd. It's just a massive amount of industries. There's really no limit, and it's generational. It's going to keep being a future opportunity for people to get into.
To your point, Taylor, I think one of the things that occurs to me too is that there's opportunity because there's a lot of smaller businesses in our community that are actually looking for ways to be able to participate in all of that. And so one of the nice things about local business too, or smaller businesses, at least that we've kind of seen in our experience, is their willingness to potentially take on trainees.
Yes.
And, sort of helping people start going through the pathway that way. And we've seen that with some of our youth build kids where they've gotten an opportunity to go, learn by being a plumber's helper, and then they become an apprentice. And then, so there's other not like less traditional ways of potentially doing that. And I think that that's the other piece that is sort of going to come on us as an agency that serves people who are looking for ways to support themselves and move themselves into a different direction, to try to find those other creative ways or partner up with people to sort of help facilitate for the people that we work with the opportunities. If it means that we need to assist because there's some some language barrier issues, and we have the capacity on that side to be able to help with that, or educational challenges, and we need to help people just get to a point. That in some ways that's part of our response, needs to be part of our response to that, to try to help people get into some areas that they may not have thought of, but potentially through small business, who are just looking for people to kind of help build out their workforce, knowing that if they get them in and they train them from the ground, they know they're going to get the workers that they really need. And it provides an incredible chance for, particularly for young people, but I even think for people who might be mid-career, who are doing one thing but have some skill sets that are consistent with some of these other businesses, that they can just transfer it over, right? And be able to, then move their way up. So I think there's a lot of levels to that are looking for help. So I think that, we're at a really unique time in our community right now to be able to create opportunities for anybody who is really interested in trying to get a little bit creative and see where it takes them. So
I'm thinking of, people that are sitting out there. It's August. It's a great summer. People are gonna be at the feast later tonight, and they're gonna see what somebody else is doing, or they're looking at the Facebook pictures or Instagram pictures, taking the kids to Six Flags, and they're going, next summer I want to have the savings. I want to have some money to tap into to do that with my family, or I want to be, out there at the feast, like, bringing cash, making it rain at the feast. So I think what we're saying here is that the opportunities are there for you right now. So you could be in a program like in a week or two, getting the skills that you need to join this wind industry, or to find another career path for you, and making $22 an hour to start, just to get off the ground. And if you're making 15 now, or you're making nothing right now, that's a huge leap. So then it gives you something to go through the process and figure out how to manage. But the opportunities are there. So say that's the case. Someone gets rolling with work. They're going to be so busy. It's going to be, you get like 2 hours of daylight in January when they're going to be out on some barge, right? So that money is just going into savings. What are some of the common misconceptions, Brandon, that people have about starting the budgeting process, managing their own money, credit repair, all the things that someone in that situation would have to be thinking about?
So common misconceptions, let's see. People think that a lot of times that they don't have money left over to save. They think, my bills are too bad. Now, what it often is that they're spending a lot on things that they don't need. And that's why I recommend things like Mint, so that they can actually see how much you're spending and then make adjustments. And then they'll find that, I actually do have some money that I can put aside for this. I just haven't been prioritizing that. So that's a misconception. Just trying to think. Can you explain your question a little bit more?
Yeah, no. So I'm thinking that's a good one, right? Like just the basic advice for someone, right? Yeah, figure out where you're spending money, because right now you're just like swiping your debit card everywhere you go, and so I'm thinking like maybe what are some other reasons where it's or people, frankly, I think in some cases they're excuses, right? What are some reasons people are not taking care of their finances a little bit better? If you solve the problem of not having enough money coming in, which we're saying is the opportunities are there. Once you get to that point, why wouldn't you be able to follow the 5 steps and get on the road?
You should be able to at that point if you've been able to reach that point. It's just that people they go on these social media sites, Instagram, Facebook. They see how people are living. A lot of times, it's not really realistic in how the reality of how they're living. And they see that and they want to keep up with the Joneses, and they just don't. They're not in a position to actually live like that, but they want to portray that. So a lot of times that's what happens. And what you really want to do is you want to realize that you're a person just like everyone else, and there's no need to really live like that. The optimal thing to do in life is to be able to build up assets that you can pass down to the next generation, so that they can live a better life than you did, right? You don't want to look like you're having a good life. You want to actually have a good life. And you want to enjoy life, and you want to have wealth, not just be rich. So, that's what I would say.
And Brandon, I feel like, is it true? I mean, it's funny because I'm so embarrassed to even tell you this story. I feel like a lot of times you don't know when it comes to, people coming to job search,
Right.
people with finance, you don't know what you don't know. Meaning, like when you're talking about, you might be, let me tell you, I was talking to somebody a couple of years ago, a girl I knew in insurance, and we were talking about car insurance. I was paying $400 for my car a month for car insurance. I don't know that everybody else isn't paying $400 in car insurance. So it takes somebody like you to be like, wait, you know that you can work with another insurance company and try to get that down, right? I didn't know that. So how much I'm spending $400 on car insurance when really I can go somewhere, get it down to 100, and that's $300 extra. I can dump in my savings account. So it's kind of tough, so I can. Oh gosh, I might need to take your business card before I leave.
Well, you bring up a great point, and I think what occurs to me as I listen to you talk too, Brandon, is, because of your approach, and it's a little bit different than what you would think of as a traditional financial advisor, but because of your approach, what would be suggestions that you would give to people like us who work with folks who are kind of trying to figure it out, right? It's not a topic that, unless we are really intentional about what we think a lot about, but I think it could be really valuable for the people that we work with to be able to say, you might want to think about this. This might be really helpful, valuable information to you. What would you think would be something that how could we kind of convey to them that, even though you might feel like it's sort of unattainable and unrealistic to talk to a financial person, but the message really is it's important no matter what your income level is, no matter where your money comes from, none of that really makes a difference, because ultimately it's about planning and just trying to kind of move forward. So how would you encourage us to sort of convey that message? I mean, you've obviously convinced me that I'm thinking I need to help my staff understand this. So how would you had somebody that came to you and just said, I'm sorry, I barely make minimum wage. I have no.
Well, I would tell them go talk to Taylor. That's what I would say. That's why I'm so glad we have Taylor here to talk about that.
But if they would say, I don't even have anything. I shouldn't even be talking to you. What would you say to them?
Well, talk to Taylor, right? You gain those skills through this program to increase your income, so that you have a good income level, but also work on your budget. And in terms of what you as PACE should say to them, I would say that, okay, you came here, you need help. Everybody needs help at some point. You should not feel shameful about that. But what is the goal here, right? You don't want to be stuck on fuel assistance, any kind of assistance forever, right? You want to get to a point where you're self-sustainable, and again, you're able to build those assets that you can hand down to the next generation.
Right.
So I would tell them, look, this is your goal over here, right? We're going to reach your goal step by step, and stop saying the word can't, because when you say the word can't, that limits your ability to actually do those things. So say that you can, and you will get it done.
I sort of feel like the message is in this case, financially planning is doable for everybody, right? And it's just about trying to figure out how to take those steps. And for some people, the steps might be the time might be longer. But I kind of bring it back to sort of how we kind of kick this off in terms of talking about like homeownership, which has sort of sparked all this interest in how do we get there. I think the point is that it's possible for anybody, really, as long as you're willing to kind of take the steps to sort of and follow the goals and to set those goals. So it's helping people to understand that you don't have to feel like you can't go and ask the questions and get some tips and tools from somebody like yourself who can give a real outline for people to then have that at their disposal. Because I really think that many people just don't understand that there are even tools to work with, that there are even steps to take. And I think that, awareness is a huge part of that. But I think it's something that when I think about sort of educational things, for example, our Youth Build program does do some soft skills, and they do talk about financial literacy is one of the programs that the Career Center, that MassHire supports for us, along with United Way. So, so it's something that we don't inherently learn as people. I mean, I can tell you, we talked about a story before we got on today, right? About how I learned. I talked with somebody about credit repair because I was going to bring it to this group of folks that I was working with probably 6 or 7 or 8 years ago. And in just her presentation about what she'd be presenting, I learned some things that I didn't know.
Right.
And I am not young. Like, I've been in the workforce for a long time at that point. And I thought, like, I never learned this.
Yeah.
So this is really, these are things that it's really important to bring to the forefront to folks and to I love it. You know, you never say can't, I can't, don't say you can't do it because you really can. And we're here to help you get there.
Let me say this, over 50% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Can you believe that number? Over half of Americans live paycheck to paycheck.
Over 100% of people in this room right now.
Yeah. Exactly.
What I'm trying to say is it's a common thing for us not to be taught those things. So I'm glad you brought that up. But now when a lot of us have phones and we have things like podcasts, things like Earn Your Leisure, that's one of them that I listen to and teach you all the time, all kinds of things about financial literacy. Now the information and awareness is out there, and now it's up to you to go look at it. It's up to you to change your life. Nobody's going to change your life for you. You have to take that initiative and say, hey, listen, I'm down bad right now. I have to make this change for not only myself, but my family, or it's just going to be a continuous cycle. So you are the person that can break the cycle, break the chain. You can do it.
I think that's, that came up in the homeownership event quite a bit too. And it's this generational thing. So what we're trying to all collectively do is provide the tools to overcome sort of those generational expectations, right? A long history of nobody owning their home.
Right.
So you don't know what the process is to own a home. You don't know you don't even know where to start. You don't know if you had a home given to you, how to take care of it. Just like, maybe you guys are in similar situations to me going to college. My parents didn't go to college. They didn't know that you had to get not just good grades, but great grades if you wanted to go. They didn't know that, you need to fill out that FAFSA form before. You need to get those applications. You can apply for college in your junior year. Why would you do that? All those different things apply there. I think in finding a job or in building wealth or managing your finances, it's all very similar. So again, there is no real reason why you can't succeed. We're trying to give the tools through sessions like this one, through podcasts like that, by going to the Career Center and getting into a seminar, working with somebody. There are ways to do it. So don't fall back on the low expectations that the world has set for all of us. We can do better than that. You can excel and you can step up and get to the next level. Right?
Yeah, it's funny because that ties in a lot to what it can be, sometimes, we can go over these tools and sometimes it's going to make it, if you've got a lot of debt, it's going to take a little while to get out of that debt. It might not be tomorrow. Don't be discouraged and don't forget your why. Remember your why. Who are you doing this for? No one's going to come in and do this for you. No one's going to make sure your life is good other than you. And I've actually learned along the way, especially when I was in the youth department, I tend to say, okay, you're stressed. I'll do your resume for you. That doesn't work. They're not taking ownership of it. You need to be empowered and know that you can do this. You don't need me to do this. Here are some tools. Here's a template. I can point you in the right direction, but if I do all the work for you now and you get a job, I'm not going to be there with you, So, nobody's going to, like you said, do it for you. Remember your why. Don't easily get discouraged because it might be a process. You might get, jobs coming your way, but maybe it's, you're interviewing and it's really not what you think is what you need at this time. Don't feel like you could take the job and wait to get another one, but don't feel like you need to make any rash decisions. Just be patient because it is a process and it can be discouraging at times, even for me. I mean, I kind of have a similar, college experience. I wish somebody told me I did not need to go to college. Not that I don't find value in my education, but my mom did go to college, but she had me very young. She didn't know much about, I refused. I didn't want to go stay at home. I saw my friends and everyone I knew was going to college. So I felt like I needed money to make money. I was like, well, Mom, everyone else is going to college. I'm not going to stay here. Everyone else is at college. So my mom really couldn't afford it. She was a single mom. She didn't know anything about, taking out loans. So what did we do? We took out the max amount of loans I could possibly, because I wanted to go to college. That was the only way we could afford college. I went for about 8 years. I should have my freaking doctorate. With the amount of, I'm over $100,000 in debt. And you know what people told me? Good luck. That's stupid. You're never going to buy a house. Only now recently I'm starting to think, No, maybe I can. I
You
think
can
I can do
get
it.
it done,
I can
yes.
get it done. I'm starting to, look at my bills. What am I overpaying for? I'm paying a Barnes and Noble thing from years. Like, I paid $30 for Barnes and Noble. How long have I been paying for that to get that discount that one day? And here I am. It's just coming out of my account every month. I'm not even looking at it. It's just having somebody like you to redirect me and say, or somebody at MassHire to say, but have you looked at other options? Do you know about this industry? How about this? You sound like you want to do this. You don't have to go to college. There's plenty of trades, and manufacturing is a giant one. And I know a little bit of our misconceptions are that it's gross and dirty. It's not. It really isn't anymore.
It's respectable work.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
It's
What occurs to me, excuse me, as I took here, as we're all talking though, is that there's no, ultimately, I think the message here is that there's no one path,
yeah.
and there's no one place you have to start from, right? You can start from wherever you are. You're getting assistance, and you haven't taken the step to get some additional training, or you're making minimum wage, but there are options, and so regardless of where you're coming from, excuse me again, regardless what your history is, it's really there's possibility in it all, right? So I think that if there's no other takeaway from this entire conversation that we've had, it's that nothing is impossible, right? And there are people out there that can really help to support the path, whatever that path looks like, and it looks different for every single person. And you can tackle that path in any number of ways. So I think that ultimately, you just said it, Taylor. You had to put in your head, I could never own a home.
Yep.
Well, but now you're finally coming to the realization that actually might be an attainable thing. And so I think really what I really hope people take away from this is that it can be done. They can do it. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where you're coming from. It's possible. And I think there's a lot of resources out there, and including all of us sitting here, that are willing to help set the course. Absolutely.
I want to expand on that real quick. So I know there's people out there that they feel as if they have nothing but negativity around them. They have no positivity whatsoever. Not one person that they can call on for positivity. So my advice with that is kind of isolate yourself from that negativity, and whatever you want to do, join a group for that. Like if you want to do real estate, join a real estate group. If you want to paint, join a painting group. There's Facebook groups and stuff for that all the time, and make that your family. You know what I mean? Make those people your family, so that you'll have positivity around you, and it'll help you grow. And eventually, people that were negative before, they'll see you growing. Some might hate you, but others will be inspired by you and actually want to do better for themselves and their families. So then you'll be a shining light in your community.
That's it. So I think we've got, hopefully, there's people that have been watching us and they're going, wow, okay, I can do it. No is not in my vocabulary anymore. I'm going to figure out a way to do this. Can't is gone. So before we kind of wrap things up, I think it would be good to remind people exactly how they could reach out and get some of these services. So Taylor, say someone wants to get into a Career Center seminar, they want to look into these services. Where should they go? How do they start?
Great question. If you are comfortable in tech savvy, jump on JobQuest. Is it jobquest.com? No, I can't remember if there's a no, it's JobQuest. Google JobQuest, you're gonna find it. Create an account if you haven't already. Right from there, you can schedule a Career Center seminar. There's various throughout the week. You don't even have to do it with the New Bedford Career Center. You can do it with any career center, and at least get your foot in the door. Do that Career Center seminar, meet with that counselor, and you let them know, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I'm doing now, tell me what to do. No one's gonna ever turn you away and say, we don't do that, good luck. They're gonna at least say, okay, well, PACE can help you with this, and we can help you with this, and there are also funding opportunities for the Career Center as well. It does go by income eligibility, but don't ever write yourself off from that. There's a number of situations, everybody in walks of life, go in, if you're interested in training and you don't quite have the funds to be able to go to college or anything, there is opportunity for that kind of funding through the Career Center. So go inquire about that and figure out, how you can access that funding. We also have a number of free training programs. You don't need to be income eligible. So definitely go JobQuest to register for that Career Center seminar and give them a call, 508-990-4000.
And so, Brandon, people want to reach out to you. They've gotten the job, or they're already in a position. I think you would probably say, and we would agree that it doesn't matter. You don't need the great job to start thinking about your finances.
Right.
So, but wherever someone's coming from, how do they reach out to your company? How do they reach out to you? Or what are the next steps that they should take?
Awesome. So, like I said before, I will send out the investment account guide that basically has the description of every type of, not every type of investment, but common types of investments. So regular brokerage accounts, the child accounts that I talked about, the UPMA, as well as the retirement accounts for both employed and self-employed individuals. And I'll send that out via New Bedford Financial Consulting at gmail.com. So just send me an email, put investment account in the subject line, and then I will reach out to you with that resource. And then also I will be doing open enrollment for financial coaching clients starting in September. So if you want, you can go ahead and shoot me an email at New Bedford Financial Consulting at gmail.com, and I will reach out to you when it's time to enroll. So also, can you talk about the third eye thing now? Is that after?
Absolutely.
Okay, so also, so
He's always working, this guy.
I have to put this group out there because they really helped me in my career. So Third Eye, a lot of you from New Bedford are familiar with the Third Eye Festival that they used to have in Butler Park, where they had the different graffiti, hip hop performances, as well as the basketball tournament that I participated in. They need your help right now. They've been serving the youth of New Bedford for over 20 years, and they've been paying it forward for that entire time, and now they need some help from their community to help build the building, to expand their programs and stuff like that. And I know Pace plans on collaborating with them on that as well. So you can go to thirdeyeunlimited.org, and there's a link for you to be able to donate towards the down payment for them buying this new space that they're going to have right in the center of downtown. So it'll be accessible to not only the West End, not only the South End, not only the North End, but the entire New Bedford. So please go to thirdeyeunlimited.org and show your support. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to echo that. I mean, Third Eye has been such a great partner to us, really since probably about the start of the year. We've been talking with them and partnering on a number of events. So Lana Walker was involved in the home ownership event that we had recently as a first-time home buyer, and talked about his experience there. We've seen and heard all the great things that they're doing with partnerships, connecting youth overseas and having sort of a foreign exchange dynamic going on. But they provide incredible services, really innovative, top-of-the-line stuff, and we support that effort too. So, whatever people could do to help them out and just kind of monitor that situation, we want to support that because they've been really valuable and great partners to us. Anything else to add before we wrap up?
One quick misconception about the Career Center. It is not the unemployment office, by the way.
Yeah, there we go.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I bet one thing I really wanted to say today. I think way back when it might used to have been the unemployment office, and while the decor isn't much decorative, it might look the same, but it is not the unemployment office. So anybody who takes advantage of the career, it is not just people who are unemployed. It can be absolutely anybody who is job searching. Maybe you just need a referral. Hey, where can I get fuel assistance? Oh, we know, Pace. Just use us as a resource. It's not just for somebody who's on unemployment. So just wanted to put that out there. It is for everybody.
That's a good point. We hear that a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep, so do we.
So I just want to thank you guys. This has been really, informative and helpful, and I really welcome so the doors that this opens up too for us, I think, to provide information to the community, as well as thinking about ways that we can all work together a little bit differently. So I look forward to what's to come.
Yeah, I've enjoyed the conversation, everyone. I think this is great, and it's going to be exciting to see where your business is after September and your open enrollment.
Absolutely.
See how things pick up at MassHire and the Career Center, how we handle this new offshore wind opportunity that's coming to town,
That's right.
Yeah.
and how we can make sure that New Bedford families are overcoming these generational trenches that we've been stuck in, and so we can overcome them, and everything's possible. So thank you for participating with us today. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And stay tuned for the next event. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you.